Today you'll take the test for Chapter 15 in Social Studies, The Spirit of Reform. Be sure to put your name, your class period, and the date at the top of the page. The first section is true or false. And this time we get to circle the answer, write A or B on the line for true or false. Number 1. Henry David Thoreau went to jail to protest a tax to support the Mexican War. 2. Elijah Lovejoy, an abolitionist leader, was killed by a mob in Illinois. 3. Shaker women, such as Lucretia Mott, had more equality in their communities than did other women of that time. Number 4. The spirit of reform brought changes to education, religion, and literature. Number 5. Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton led the women's rights movement after forming a friendship in 1851. Number 6. The Declaration of Sentiments and Resolutions was modeled after the Declaration of Independence. Seven. Members of the United States government had tried to limit slavery as early as 1776. Number 8. Mount Holyoke College in Massachusetts admitted only African American students. Number 9 starts our multiple choice section. Number 9. What former enslaved person escaped to Massachusetts in 1838? Was it A. Charles T. Weber, B. Frederick Douglass, C. Horace Mann, or D. Theodore Weld? Number 10. Why did many girls not attend school in the 1800s? Was it because A. Attendance of girls at school was against the law? B. Girls felt embarrassed to attend school with boys? C. Parents felt that a wife and mother did not need an education? Or D. Schools charged more for girls to attend? The following quote goes with the next question, 11. It reads, "That man over there says that women need to be helped into carriages and lifted over ditches, and to have the best place everywhere. Nobody ever helped me into carriages or over mud puddles, or gives me any best place. Ain't I no woman? Look at me. Look at my arm. I've plowed and planted and gathered into barns, and no man could heel me. No man could head me. And ain't I a woman? I could work as much and eat as much as a man, when I could get it, and bear the lash as well. Ain't I a woman?" This quote was spoken by Sojourner Truth in a speech to the Ohio Women's Convention in 1851. Number 11. This quotation upholds which idea? That A. Women are more capable than men and deserve better treatment? B. Women are as capable as men and should be treated equally? C. Men need to understand how to treat women more fairly? Or D. Men should learn to help out women more? Question number 12 also has a quote above it. It says, "The noise was like the roar of Niagara. Some of the people were singing, others praying, some crying for mercy in the most piteous accents, while others were shouting most vociferously. At one time I saw at least 500 swept down in a moment, as if a battery of 1,000 guns had been opened up on them, and then immediately followed shrieks and shouts that rent the very heavens." This quote comes from James Finley, who's describing a camp meeting during the Second Great Awakening. Question number 12 asks, when did the events described in this excerpt occur? In the late 1820s or early 1830s? B, in the mid-1830s or early 1840s? C, in the mid-1850s? Or D, late 1850s or early 1860s? Number 13. What compromise was made in the 1700s regarding slavery? A, was a constitutional amendment banning slavery. A constitutional amendment banning slavery would be needed. B, each state could decide whether or not slavery was legal. C, it was decided that at the turn of the century, slavery would be illegal. Or D, slavery would only be allowed in certain states in the South. Number 14 goes along with this passage. What to the American slave is your 4th of July? To him, your celebration is a sham. Your boasted liberty, an unholy license. Your national greatness, swelling vanity. Your sounds of rejoicing are empty and heartless. Your denunciation of tyrants, brass-fronted impudence. Your shouts of liberty and equality, hollow mockery. Your prayers and hymns, your sermons and thanksgivings, with all your religious parade and solemnity, are, to him, mere bombast, fraud, deception, impiety, and hypocrisy. A thin veil to cover up crimes that would disgrace a nation of savages. There is not a nation of savages. There is not a nation on the earth guilty of practices more shocking and bloody than are the people of the United States at this very hour. That statement was made by Frederick Douglass in an Independence Day speech in Rochester, New York in 1841. Number 14. Which statement best interprets this passage? That the United States, A, the United States should be a symbol of liberty. B, the nation's ideals of freedom are marred by slavery. C, the United States is great but not perfect. Or D, the United States' tolerance of diversity is wonderful. Number 15. Which educational institution was founded for the visually impaired? Was that A, Gallaudet University? B, the Hartford School? C, Oberlin College? Or D, the Perkins Institute? Number 16. On which continent was the colony formed by the American Colonization Society? Was that A, Africa, B, Asia, C, Australia, or D, Europe? Number 17. Who was a leader of educational reform? Was that A, Charles Finney, D, Dorothea Dix, C, Horace Mann, or D, Lyman Beecher? The graph about school enrollment between 1850 and 2000 goes with question 18. Along the x-axis are the years. Along the y are the percent of enrollment. in percent of persons of elementary and high school age. So that's all the people who are of an age to be in school, the percent that actually are. Number 18. Based on the bar graph, in which year was school enrollment closest to 75%? Was that in 1850, 1900, 1950, or 2000? Number 19. Based on the graph, in which year did school enrollment in the United States reach 50%? That's the graph above number 18. Was that in A, 1900, B, 1940, C, 1950, or D, 1960? The following quote goes with question number 20. It reads, I use the term women's rights because it's a technical phrase. I like not the expression. It is not women's rights of which I deign to speak, but of women's wrongs. I shall claim nothing for ourselves because of our sex. We should demand our recognition as equal members of the human family. That statement was made on April 19, 1850. Number 20. The main theme of this excerpt is that A, that women have all the rights they are entitled to. B, women and men are different, so they should have different rights and opportunities. C, women should stop wronging men by demanding recognition for themselves. Or D, women should have more rights because they are humans, not just because they are women. The next quote goes with number 21. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul, and sings the tune with the words, and never stops at all. This poem was written in 1861. 21. Who was most likely the author of this poem? A, Harriet Beecher Stowe. B, Emily Dickinson. C, Louisa May Alcott. Or D, Margaret Fuller. Number 22. When did one of the first debates over slavery occur in the United States? Would that be in A, 1787 at the Continental Convention? B, 1792 when George Washington was re-elected president? C, 1821 in an Ohio newspaper? Or D, 1832 with the formation of the New England Anti-Slavery Society? The next quote goes with number 23, and it states, I arrived at the place where I was directed to call on an abolitionist, but I made no stops. So great were my fears of being pursued. This quote is from Henry Bibb. 23. Although he had reached Ohio, why did this runaway enslaved person continue to run? A, because he did not know that he had reached safe territory. B, he thought he still might be captured and returned to slavery. C, he was being pursued by trackers of runaway enslaved people. Or D, he couldn't find his Underground Railroad station. Number 24. What was the most controversial issue at the Seneca Falls Convention? Was it A, education, B, jobs, C, slavery, or D, suffrage?